Welcome, everybody, to the second half of the European Masters here. We're covering Group D. This is the last day of groups before we head to the playoff bracket. My name's Scoundrel. I'm joined by Trouble. Now, we are very close to getting into our next game, so we are going to have to speed run this. We're talking a lot about BTXL. BTXL had a disaster of a week one, but have come out swinging in week two, and they look like a favorite to qualify and get out of groups behind Camille Corp, which is a big change, Trouble, from what we saw last week. And actually, the whole evolution of XL over the last year has been pretty intense.
It has been. Literally last year, they didn't even make EU Masters. They were third in the NLC, which we didn't expect that. And this year, they keep the two main cores of the team, Hatrixx in the mid lane and Deadly in the bot lane, and they reconstruct the entire rest of the crew. They bring in the LEC prodigy Orome. They bring insane mechanics, 5-head pathing in the jungle Markoon, and they bring one of the most stable supports I have seen in the NLC, at least, Advienne next to Deadly, and they literally run over the entire NLC uncontested. You were there, I was there, a lot of the viewers were there. No one can contest them. Not even Fnatic could put a finger on what BTXL was doing so well, and they just completely stormed through the NLC. And then first week strike the Scoundrel.
Yeah,
and they got smacked in the face, and we kept wondering, like, what is going on? Like, why can we just not see what is going on? And here, these are very important stats right here, because Deadly came into the NLC with an interview saying, listen, mate, I just last hit and I don't do anything in the game, and then the screen flashes victory, right? The rest of my crew is doing everything for me. In the playoffs in the NLC, he popped off. Absolute freaking beast. He carried the entire series.
Yeah.
In EU Masters, even stronger.
Yeah.
Then what is going wrong?
Exactly. In the first week of the European Masters, he got even better from his playoff performances in the NLC. But that's one of the things that made XL a better product this year, was the fact that it was no longer just about carry threat. Hatrixx stepped up, and the game that we saw earlier from Hatrixx on Akali, big redemption game for Hatrixx. He absolutely crushed it, and Orome as well. Question marks have been raised about Orome. He had a great performance on the Urgot. But this matchup is not only important for XL, it is important for Betis as well. Betis come in as a team that came through the play-ins. It was one of the teams from the SLO that was definitely like, I guess, an underdog, I suppose is the way of putting it. Like, they were an underdog coming from that region. Not many people super expected them to sort of really hype up and perform, despite having the regular season performance that went so well for them. They struggled in the playoffs, and then obviously kind of got their way through those play-ins. However, this matchup is of critical importance to both teams, because if Betis win, then they put themselves in a situation where they have a good shot to get second place and qualify. There are 8 remaining scenarios, 3 of which Betis can find themselves either in a tiebreaker for second or in second confirmed, 5 of which XL will find themselves in second without a tiebreaker situation to contend with. So XL are the favorites, but this particular matchup is going to swing the pendulum to either Betis or to XL. And that's what makes this particular matchup so exciting, because this is the decider match for that second place. For your information, Camille Corp, you might have guessed it already, absolutely 100% locked in first. Both them and Misfits have had some of the quickest games in European Masters this split. The LFL looking like an absolute nutcase right now in terms of how they're playing the game. But the second spot is still up for grabs in this group, and it really is a two-way race between Betis and BTXL. Unfortunately for Schalke, the best they can hope for is a 3-way tie, which is one remaining scenario in the entire remaining scenarios of 1 of 8. So there is a chance for Schalke, but it is slim. We are in to draft, though, here, Trouble, and BTS over on the blue side and BTXL over on the red. And you can see some bans coming through already. We're not going to see Nocturne, we're not going to see Seraphine, and Jinx also taken off the table.
And I really like the Nocturne adaptation here by BTS, because when BTXL played previously versus Schalke, they had 2 globals, right? They had the Nocturne ultimate and they had the Twisted Fate. This is 2 tools that you can very easily shut down a side lane. Now, we have continuously said that if you shut down Orome, if you completely choke him in lane, BTXL just flops over. They just lose. Markoon cannot do anything with 2 losing solo lanes, and it just all falls apart because you can't play through bot if your top lane is literally drowning. So I do like the adaptation of taking away completely the Nocturne, no pressure there. Deadly has been an insane Jinx, and he's so good at positioning. Like, I feel like from a team that has been losing as much as BTXL, Deadly, there's a slight chance he has the best positioning on an AD carry I have seen in this EU Masters. And I was just about to say that one of my favorite performances of Deadly has been on the Varus, but this time it's been taken away by Namex.
Feels like a little bit of an open wound for Betis here, because this was the pick that Deadly dismantled them with in their previous matchup last week.
And
that will get... Yeah, and exactly. They have absolutely prioritized that. You can see that Betis consider Deadly that much of a threat that they are willing to first pick an AD carry, which is not seen a huge amount of in the current meta. Now we're going to see the Volibear locked in, one of the remaining strong junglers, with the Udyr and the Nocturne and the Hecarim taken off the table. Let's see what BTXL choose to go next. There are quite a lot of picks that I think work well for them. I wouldn't even mind a rel prioritization, but it is going to be the Kai'Sa locked in for Deadly. So I'm already getting the vibe that we are looking at a more dive-orientated composition. Potentially, we might even see that Akali come through for Hatrixx again, but LeBron locks in the Kayn, and we get the Thresh.
LeBron doesn't lock in the Kayn. LeBron is the Kayn, ex-scoundrel. I remember him back when he was playing in the Greek League. I think it was last year. LeBron was an absolute monster on the Kayn. Teams would be banning it left, right, and center against him. We've also seen a Kayn make an appearance. I think it was Elyoya who played it in the LEC as well. So it is a pick that's extremely viable. You can go blue, you can go red. LeBron does tend to really like his assassin, so he's going towards that blue a little bit more. But overall, this is a very promising draft that I see here from BTS. They've got a lot of aggression. They've got a lot of safe options with the Kayn sliding through the walls. They've got the Thresh to lantern out the Kayn or reposition the Varus, if you will. And from BTXL, I'm seeing a go button. There's like a huge red button, and the second they press it, everyone and their moms just dives into the backline trying to reach Namex onto a very immobile ADC.
Yeah, I do get the impression that the dive is the name of the game here, which is why the Akali gets banned. We did mention it, that this could have been the perfect situation for Hatrixx to flex that Akali once more in the mid lane. But obviously, as we know, Betis have already singled that out. The Sylas getting banned. Not going to see that picked up by Betis this time around. There are a lot of good ultimates for the Sylas to pick up here, especially that Alistar one. So as you can see, BTXL already wary to that threat. We'll see what they choose. I mean, both team comps. I mean, the problem with what I see from Betis right now is that if you're playing blue Kayn, for instance, you're looking to be a bit more aggressive. And obviously, Varus is a relatively immobile AD carry. Obviously, that can be alleviated a little bit by the Thresh, but there is almost a little split from what I'm seeing right now. It feels like it should be dive versus dive with the Kayn, but maybe Kayn plays a little bit more passive and looks for an opening in a team fight more than just going straight for the dive. But it is the Atrox gets taken off the board here. I wouldn't be surprised to see another Urgot from Orome, potentially the Gnar as well. It's a solid blind pick.
Considering all these mid lane picks went down from the side of BTXL, they would...
What? That's a Malzahar! Hatrixx is just locked in a Malzahar.
Okay, Hatrixx just pulled out the Zanzara mid lane pick. This is the scanner of the mid lanes. This is another champion that you have to pay the tax, or you're gonna have to pay by smacking your own KDA and dying. I really like this. Great counter pick right here from Miniduke. You have the range, you have the clear. Malzahar has to spend so much mana on the early game to try and push back at you, but I would have assumed like you ban the Orianna yourself, your BTXL, so you don't plan on taking it on the red side, and you're keeping counter pick for Orome. His Gnar is up and available, but to be fair with you, I've not seen him do that great on the Gnar. Every time he's picked the Gnar, he's been dived over and over again. I do like this way more.
This suits the XL comp. This is very dive focused. Like, goodness gracious me. I mean, you are
That's
going
not
in.
XL. What is going on?
You are going in as XL here. Like, you are looking to, I mean, and especially with these immobile picks, like the Vel'Koz and the Varus, like, you've got plenty of opportunity to seek those kind of engages. The Malzahar strikes me as a little weird in that respect. I guess you know, if you have your flash up, you can make that flash engage with the Malzahar. But XL have got the tools available. Looking over at BTS, though, I mean, we should kind of set up what we think we're going to see this game. Let's start with Betis. What are we going to see from the Betis comp here? What am I expecting to see from them in game trouble?
Honestly, you're definitely going to have mid priority and bot priority with the Varus constantly having the range over the Kai'Sa. You've got the Pog there as well. And Miniduke, that was a great counter pick, honestly, with the Vel'Koz. You've got so much range and so much wave clear, which means that Lebron can grab the squid from the mid lane and take him sort of to the side rivers and try to take control over a Volibear that is not going to be able to get that mid lane power and move the Malzahar around with him. So you're going to have to be very careful and possibly play towards top side where Orome is. So I think a lot of the action will happen on the opposite sides of the map. You're going to see Markoon trying to get Orome ahead onto this Camille. And then with the other way around, you want to play with the Chain of Corruption. You want to play with the hook from the Thresh. So Lebron will be moving down the bot side of the map.
Just been informed by production that we will see. It looks right now like Volibear's support and Alistar is jungle. That is not the case. We've just been told that they were unable
back in
to
season
swap
2.
Yeah, I know. Alistar jungle has been a lot. I was around in League casting when Alistar jungle was a thing. That makes me feel incredibly old. They couldn't swap, so we are essentially waiting to get that champion select remade before we head into game. And obviously, it's Volibear jungle, and it'll be Advienne on the Alistar in bot lane. Yeah, so with Betis, it definitely feels like they are sort of playing to peel back, using the Sion as the protection. Like you're looking to play more of a backline, longer range focus. You've got a little bit of poke in there. However, I really feel like if XL execute on their team fights properly, you know, Vel'Koz and Varus, they're going to be mincemeat in these situations. Like they are such easy targets for some of the BTXL roster to pick off.
I think the difference here is whoever presses the go button first, right? Because you've got the Varus Chain of Corruption and you've got the knock-up from the Vel'Koz, you've got the hook. It's all about the pick potential that BTS have in their hands. If they pick someone off very early into the fight, then BTXL cannot fight with all of their components there. And on the other hand, if BTXL manage to get the vision, they manage to move all together as a unit towards them and dive them at the same time, then it is BTS that are going to be at a disadvantage. So they've got completely different win conditions right here. One is pick someone off, the other one is fight all together with the vision.
And let's see how that pans out through this game. We are on to the Rift. I just want to re-impress the importance of this match. If BTXL win, guaranteed second seed. Nothing matters after this game if BTXL take the win. If BTS win, there is a whole host of scenarios that are still available, 3 of which BTS have the chance of going through, and 1 of which BTS are guaranteed second seed. Sorry, 2 of which BTS are in a tiebreaker, 1 of which BTS are guaranteed a second seed. So this is a match of the utmost importance for both of these teams. And again, that head-to-head matchup will come into crucial play as well with BTXL. They already have that win over Betis. And so Betis do need to try and bounce back and pick up the second win versus XL. You can see Hatrixx took a little bit of damage in the early lane phase. Lebron is going to start at his blue buff, which would signal to me that if there is any early play that will happen, it might be towards the mid and bot lane where there's a lot of ganked setup.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got the knock-up from the Vel'Koz, then you've got hook down with the Thresh, can lantern you in. It's not the easiest of job for Kayn before he has any form to try and pull a gank off, but when you have a Thresh and you've got the slow from the Varus and you've poked them down already, then it's going to be much easier. But I think, honestly, it's going to be slow and steady wins the race. You need the Chain of Corruption if you want to make a play down bot lane. You need to have the Ray onto Miniduke's Vel'Koz to try and get that kill in the mid lane. And of course, Lebron is going to need his ultimate as well in case situation gets too sticky. He can get out or he can use it as an execute sort of process. Now, this is the problem right here with Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz has so much range over the Malzahar, and he can push the waves that much easier that Hatrixx, one, is going to have to expend way too much mana and use his teleport early on to try and regen on his mana, or he's going to end up losing a bunch of CS due to tower and due to the way that his minions are pushed in. So far, you can see that he's behind quite a bit of CS. Yes, the wave hasn't crossed in, but that would be only 4 CS, so he's still about 6 CS behind Miniduke right now, and this is just going to continue happening.
Yeah, he's not exactly hitting every minion under the tower either as well, really proving an issue for Hatrixx in this laning phase. And you can see Markoon is threading his way over, looking for an opportunity to get onto Miniduke here. Actually, whiteinn has made his way over as well, does have that hook available. They flash in onto Miniduke, who's taken low over the wall now, and Lebron is there as well to back him up. Miniduke was in danger of going down, but Markoon could not follow up, having already expended that flash.
And that is such a great play right here for Markoon, because taking Miniduke's flash means that he cannot pressure Hatrixx underneath his tower. And if he does, the Volibear is going to be there again, and he's not going to need his flash at this point. So expending your own flash, if you Volibear, for somebody who's so immobile in the mid lane is going to constantly be pushing, I think is really worth it here. Now, the thing is that we have to keep our eyes onto Markoon and onto Miniduke to see if there's going to be a repeat gank happening right here. Because if you're going to pinpoint someone down, it is going to be that Vel'Koz. If you're going to shut him down, you got to shut him down now that he doesn't have the summoner available to him.
Yeah, and I would imagine by the time level 6 rolls around, that flash cooldown will be close to coming back. So there is a brief opportunity in that mid lane for Markoon to maybe look and exert a bit more pressure. In the bot lane, however, even Stevens, deadly equal to CS, although I would say there is a bit of a wave advantage in favor of Namex, so he should be able to sort of get a small lead accrued at the end of this as well. But, you know, deadly, a shorter range AD carry, not getting punished too hard by Namex right now. And that is probably a situation that Deadly will be happy with.
Absolutely. Even if you fall a few CS behind, being able to not take too much pain from that Varus. And actually, this Varus is going to be an on-hit, so he's not going to hurt as much in the laning phase. It's going to hurt much more later when he has a Volibear in his face, when he has the Alistar in his face, and he's able to take these guys down with the on-hit build. This is why he went Cole early into the laning phase as well. So I'm not the biggest fan, but when you have everyone playing in your face, you'd rather go for the survivability build onto the Varus rather than going for the extra poke when you have so many beefy opponents against you.
Talking about a CS lead, though, Orome has built a pretty comfortable one up against Rubio, who seems to be zoned out from this wave. I mean, it is a matchup that is hard for Sion if Orome is just going, and especially before Sion picks up something like the Bramble Vest.
This is something we don't see very often here at Scoundrel and chat. Advienne away from Deadly. Now, of course, Deadly was just trying to sneak in another last wave. I'm assuming for an item. He probably was going to, yeah, he went for the serrated dirk right there. He probably did not have enough money to buy that. So he stayed to sneak another wave in before the BTS bot lane was back. And that gave Advienne enough time to try and go and cover towards the top side, which is the Orome side, is the one that you want to keep safe and maybe look for a gank on a flashless Vel'Koz.
I mean, Hatrixx can flash ult here. I mean, Miniduke now put himself in a bit of an awkward scenario, but it doesn't look like BTXL want to pull the trigger on this. You can see whiteinn is... Oh, he does! They flash in! They're going on! And that is a lot of damage! Oh. First blood over to Advienne, and BTXL get the edge.
And you get to punish the Vel'Koz. Yes, he has TP, but 10 seconds will go past. You miss on the experience, you miss on the CS. And that is a great punishment right there. Insta flash by Hatrixx the second. You should have seen the clock ticking right there. The second he hits level 6, he flashes forward, ults him, and of course, no QSS yet. Miniduke ends up going down, yes, to Advienne, but it's very important that you will have both the summoners of Miniduke right now. Does he overextend in this lane? Doesn't have flash, doesn't have a teleport, and Markoon fastens his chances right here. Did he steal that?
No, he didn't, because Lebron hit level 6, and Markoon now doesn't have flash available. A little bit too aggressive. Miniduke will get the kill. Not the best from Markoon. Didn't have a good escape route there. Wasn't really aware of the roam coming in from Miniduke either.
And if you look at it, Lebron is at 51 CS. His bot side of the map is going to be respawning as well. And Markoon has not cleared any of his. He's going to be massively behind right now. Blue buff already taken. And he's going to head down bot. He's going to have free reign onto the Mountain Dragon as well, which is the first dragon. Starting to stack Drakes is going to be huge for BTS. Right here, bot lane's fighting.
Oh my word, Namex taking low. I mean, Deadly has the ult. The Lantern will buy Namex a bit of time. The flash over the wall. He will not drop. Oh, so close. So close. Namex has to burn a lot to get away, but he does escape.
Ooh, burning both the summoners, and that pot right there saved his life. Survived but with a sliver of health. Hatrixx roamed down bot lane. He had just spent his TP to go mid, but didn't have the ultimate. Crucially, just now came up. And Orome fancies his chances on a 1v1, pushes that Sion away, but still... BTXL are putting pressure on the map. The one that we have been constantly praising as NLC, though, has been Markoon in the jungle. And in this particular matchup, he seems to be struggling. I'm not sure what he was doing up in the top lane, but he has fallen behind. And now it's going to be a constant struggle to try and chase a Kayn around.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of wanted to focus on here, because the gold is completely even. There is minuscule amounts between the two teams right now. We're looking at a very even early game.
Yeah.
What does Kayn do with this lead? This is a sizable jungle lead. What can I expect from Lebron over the next few minutes, and how can he utilize this lead that he's generated over Markoon?
I mean, just right now, you see Namex hit level 6, so you've got the Chain of Corruption. whiteinn will hit level 6 soon. You're swapping around to go for the Herald, to get that extra gold, to pop it onto Lebron as well. And you're going to have a really strong assassin in your hands. Whoever comes near ends up being assassinated by your hands, because everyone stays really far behind. And then suddenly you've got a flank from an assassin trying to take you down. But now they're trying to take down the Sion. I'm not sure if that's possible.
No, he doesn't have that ultimate available. They are going very aggressive here. Orome does have the ultimate, the Hextech ultimatum. They'll stun him up. Rubio taken low, should die to Orome. Eventually picks up the kill. Orome, knowing that he's not going to get much on that top side of the map, and Deadly is going to have plates funneled into him, but they will end up backing just now.
Okay, they're depriving the Sion even more from CS. You can see that Orome, if he sits around and takes this wave, he most likely is going to have double the CS of the Sion at this point. Experience is going to have to be is going to be a huge problem for Rubio. He does have his TP, thankfully, to go back down bot lane, but this is going to be a Dragon. For a team that wants a team fight, a Dragon is prioritized over a Rift Herald, because you want to make sure you're stacking them up and getting the opponent team to come at you and team fight you. But Hatrixx,
yeah, Hatrixx, to be careful. That's a very, very low Kayn. Hatrixx will not die here. And under the tower will flash away. Deadly picks up the kill. Lebron gives away his life in the jungle, but they do secure that first tower of the game.
and you asked me, what can we expect from a Kayn? That's what you can expect from a Kayn. There was 3 people that were chasing the Kayn. Right then, Hatrixx had to expend his flash on a 1v3 versus the Kayn to not die. So imagine if there was another member around, this was going to be an easy time for LeBron's Kayn. And honestly, both junglers in this game are being extremely careless. They've been on the side of the map, extremely isolated from the rest of their teammates. When their teammates are doing something else, they're literally in their own game. So both the junglers have to put their heads back into this game and try to play together with their teams.
So I get the impression, just on the itemization, that LeBron will be heading towards Red Kayn. Looks like he's heading towards Gore Drinker. So less of the assassin Kayn, more of the, I suppose, sort of team fight sustain Kayn, which plays more towards what we're expecting from the Vel'Koz and the Varus, like playing back a little bit. They're not actually looking to dive, they're looking to peel and then find the re-engage when necessary. So I guess they're looking to counter that dive from BTXL by saying, okay, well, if we peel away, have a good Thresh Lantern, or we get a good Sion Decimate, something like that, we may have enough sustain and enough peel back to keep Namex and Miniduke alive in these fights.
Absolutely, and let's not forget that when the whole BTXL dives in, Hatrixx is going to stay behind. He doesn't necessarily have a tool to move too far into the backline of BTS, which means that he could potentially be one of the targets that LeBron is going to look into diving in the backline and assassinating with the Red Kayn. Deadly is going to most likely be jumping into your team to try and assassinate someone together with Volibear and Orome's Camille. So keep your eyes peeled. These are probably going to be the 2 targets that LeBron is going to have his eyes on. But even when it comes to team fight, a Red Kayn with Gore Drinker and then possibly Sterak's right after sustains so much damage. So at this point, he could be a pseudo tank, a pseudo frontline right next to Rubio.
We've got like a big group up here from Betis in the mid lane. I mean, Orome looks like he's freezing top lane, or at least trying to keep Rubio away from the top lane wave. I do want to draw your attention towards the ridiculous CS gap that has opened up between Orome and Rubio, though, by the way. What makes it even more interesting is that despite that CS gap, the gold is still in favor of BTS. And that CS gap, I'm sure, is contributing to a significant amount of gold in BTXL's pocket, which makes me feel like the rest of... Yeah, a little careful. It just makes me feel like the rest of the team is a little weak for BTXL right now, and they'll have to be careful. You can see, 1,700 gold in favor of Orome. So obviously the rest of the map is falling a little behind, and what's even more interesting is Deadly is about 1,000 gold behind his counterpart.
Yeah, that's because when Lebron was doing his stuff up top lane and he died all on his own, there was a Shelly that went down and every single plate went the side of Namex onto this on-hit Varus. So this is where he's getting his money from. Of course, if you look at Lebron, he cashed in from the plates from Shelly, and he also has the CS advantage right here. He will always be ahead of Markoon right now. Markoon will always be playing catch-up from here on out. So the point here is that they're both going to be frontliners for their teams, and which one is going to be more useful?
My question now, Trouble, is given that you have this significant lead on Orome, is there an avenue where BTXL look to flex that and try and have a 1-4 style comp open up and rely on Orome to do a lot of the work in the side lanes here? Or do you think that plays away from what they actually want to do in this game?
The thing is, when you have such a strong Camille that can do this to your frontline tank, if you're missing your frontline and your BTS, this is absolutely worth it, because whoever, whether it's the Kayn, the Vel'Koz, the Varus, or the Thresh, whoever walks slightly forward and gets engaged by the Volibear or Alistar or the one-trick click button from Hatrixx is going to be in a lot of problems if you're missing your Sion. Sion is going to be the one creating the space between BTXL and BTS, and right now, he's in no way, shape, or form to do that. He just has Butchert sale on his inventory. He's about 50 CS behind from Orome, and Orome that has Trinity Force. He has his TP available, and Dragon will be spawning very soon. And BTS are going to have to take their choice right now, because they have a lot of crucial items on specific members, such as Lebron on the Kayn. They have the Vel'Koz, the Leandris, and they have the Kraken on Varus. So they do want to fight before Volibear and before Kai'Sa get their mythic items, but then Camille gets into play.
Yeah,
and this is going to be a trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, Camille will definitely be a worry. One of the things that is worth noting is that in the build up to this fight, no QSS taxes have been paid as of yet. So no one has picked up a Quicksilver. So if BTS want to fight this, they will have to deal with that suppression that Hatrixx will bring to the table. Rubio is 2 levels down on Orome. He's trying to be the frontliner here. Advienne takes a bit of damage, gets knocked up immediately, but Orome threatening the backline already, and you can see they've left Rubio for dead. They pull back in Advienne, though, and it's a 1-for-1 overall at the end of the day. And now Markoon, stolen away Lebron, and now Deadly drops very low. Lebron should be able to pick people up here, although Deadly fancies his chances. Orome finally joins the fight. This madman in the top lane, and he is absolutely blasting through the front line. But he unfortunately will drop at the end of the day to Namex and whiteinn. That is a fight that goes in favor of BTS, and that's a fight that they really needed to win.
That was so well played, honestly, at the start by BTXL, and then BTS completely flip it on its head. You see how beautiful the flank right here is from Orome, and they don't see him. They don't know he's there. What he does right here, though, is he slightly moves out of fog of war and threatens BTS if they walk in. Now, the unfortunate thing is that you swap Advienne's health for Rubio's health, and you lose both. So it's 1-1, but the Markoon and Deadly fall so low, and Lebron managed to steal away the Dragon. That was so crucial right there for BTS that the Dragon was stolen, because we said when you have the teamfight composition and when you want to play around vision, you want to play around teamfights like BTXL do, stacking up the Dragons is so crucial, because at the end you force your opponent team to run at you.
And this is such a big game for BTS as well. If they lose this, they have absolutely zero chances of getting out of the group stages. If they win, there are 3 out of 4 situations where they are in a good spot to potentially advance. So this is a huge, huge game. And XL, who are now staring down a very small gold lead in favor of BTS, you know, this would be their ticket to the quarterfinals. If a win here, like, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, guarantees them second. And BTS are playing their hearts out when it counts, especially bringing in this comp that is designed to deal with what XL have brought to the table as well.
And you always have to take it one game at a time. But if you look at the possibilities, even if you lose that game, if you're BTXL, you have to play Carmen Corp. There hasn't been a single team that Carmen Corp has not stomped yet. So you're playing with really slim chances if you lose this game, and you have beat BTS before if you're BTXL. And right now, you're at a good footing in doing so. Again, yes, 1,000 gold is the gold difference, but you've got an extremely fed Camille that can dive the backline. You've got an extremely fed Deadly who has been on point this entire internet, not including the previous game, of course, on the Ash. But he has been an absolute monster. And if you're BTS, you have got a bunch of tools to work with. Your ADC is 2-0-1, almost on his second item. Lebron, are you really going to take your chances here for the blue buff?
I mean, he really is. He has used the ultimate. The Umbral Trespass comes out, but Orome picks it up. He's so fed right now. Miniduke can't get into the fight where Rubio is desperately looking for the exit. But I think the only exit that he's going to have is death. Flashes away. I'm not sure that flash was worth it. And he has shown the door as Rubio drops to the floor.
And that's another 2 kills for the Camille. We mentioned how Orome choked down in his lane. Sad. Orome fed on a bruiser that can dive the back lane. Yes, please, for BTXL. Both the solo laners are doing fantastic right now. Hatrixx is able to be everywhere and be an absolute threat with the Malzahar ultimate. Orome is doing great on that Camille pick in the top lane. 60 CS ahead, 4 kills in. He's got a 300 gold bounty under his head. Who is going to go play against him? This is going to be a really tough matchup, even with Rubio stacking up the armor.
But it doesn't help for much when you've got a true damage Camille and you don't have much health there. You don't have much HP. Like flat HP would be the best idea for Sion if he's trying to actually lane up against this Camille. I think Orome tears him apart at this point in the game. It's a tower for XL. They even that gold up. But the question that I have trouble is now we're 20 minutes into the game. Who's happier with this situation? Like we're even gold, mind you. Like yes, okay, XL are winning some of these smaller skirmishes and they have the kill advantage, but we're even gold. Who is happier with where we are right now in the game?
I would say absolutely BTXL at this point, just because they have the Malzahar and there has been not a single QSS build, right? And you do have Orome on that Camille that is so fed. That is the problem. You saw that the second Orome showed outside of Fog of War, the entire BTS pulled back, because once you lose your front line, once Rubio goes down, nothing will stop Orome from taking you down one by one by one. And if you overstep slightly, Hatrixx is going to be there with the engage. And if you don't have QSS, you're going to have to pay daily. So right now, BTS have to, they have to rely on a hook landing. They have to rely on Chain of Corruption landing. They have to rely on one of these situational buttons landing rather than playing for their team fight, because their team fight right now is way weaker.
I mean, Rubio looks for the engagement to Orome, but hookshot keeps him safe. That's the ultimate now used for the Sion, who doesn't have the flash, by the way. Does have the lantern to get him out, though. And BTS will reset around this dragon. It is only the second dragon of the game for either team. Oh! Advienne! How did you get there? Advienne, how did you get there? Namex is now the target. Flashes over the wall. Here comes the Hextech ultimatum onto Rubio, who cannot escape it with no flash available, no lantern this time round. It's a double kill for the man in the bot lane. Deadly takes his call.
Okay, I want to know how in the world, because he's missing his flash. Did he flash behind the pit? And there's no way they caught another one. Namex, holy.
Yeah, Namex just used his flash, by the way. And so he's very, very... Hatrixx forced to use that stopwatch, and Advienne takes the L. Advienne takes the L for his boy in the mid lane, and Hatrixx walks away. Oh, no, he threw him under the bus, but, a good support. Let's take a look here. Okay, he walks over... He walks over a control ward. He walks over a control ward and just runs it into the fight. I mean, I guess that they were so occupied with what was going on around the river.
LeBron is around him. LeBron is literally around him.
Oh my gosh, that was so good from Advienne.
Right there. They catch the Vel'Koz, then they catch the Varus as well. Namex has to flash away from this fight, and from there on out, it's just the front to back, right, for BTXL. They all dive in, they all take them down. Again, we said one link goes down for BTS. They cannot fight. They rely on picks. If you can't get a pick and you get run down, you're going to get completely wiped by team fight compositions such as BTXL have got for themselves right here. And if you look at the Summoners, we've got crucial ones missing, specifically on Namex. He has been that one pillar of hope for BTS. He's the fed ADC, Phantom Dancer, Kraken Slayer. Anyone gets near him, he will destroy them. Saying that, though, he needs his front line for him to destroy people getting near him, because if Orome gets there uncontested, Namex is most likely going to get one shot.
I mean, Orome is starting to chunk these towers now, and this is them exerting that split push pressure. 4, 1, and 3 on that Camille. 2/3 of that HP of the tower just drops instantly. Rubio has had a tough time in the top lane. But I want to bring us back to reality a little bit, even though XL clearly coming out on top in these fights. The gold is still even. Like, we are still, we're still a very even game here. Like you said, honestly, that Varus really driving a lot of the real pressure and damage from BTS. And so Namex will have to be especially careful in any upcoming engages to make sure that he is not completely singled out. He has got about a third left on his flash cooldown, so we are waiting for that summoner to come back up, and no major neutral objectives for any team to want to commit to 100% here. So I imagine that XL just continue to flex that side lane pressure with Orome.
Feels bad, man. Hatrixx really needs that blue buff so he can pressure another lane. Of course, Orome is going to pressure one side of the map. When you have Hatrixx with the blue buff, he can continuously pressure that mid lane, push the wave in. Now, he has to expend a lot of his mana to do that. And I'm not sure. BTS want to try and make the picks, right? They want to try and force BTXL through these very small choke points where the Vel'Koz really shines, where the Varus really shines, where Lebron can play around all of these walls into the jungle and try to get the diversion and the flank. Top lane?
Yeah, I mean, Namex knows what's going on here. Orome over the wall. There's the Hextech ultimatum. The damage is huge, but the stopwatch will buy the time he needs to get out. Lebron is here for the engage. There's another crucial cooldown burnt. Did Lebron actually go blue Kayn, by the way?
Yep.
Oh, wow. I was sure he was going to go red Kayn here, but he has gone for that more assassin-orientated blue Kayn.
This is Lebron Kayn. There's no red Kayn here.
There's no red Kayn here.
Oh.
Yeah, they catch out Rubio, but he is now rather tanky. You can see as well. Shut down for Orome. What was XL thinking? That was just not a good play to make. You didn't even have the Volibear in tow, and that might even be Baron as an opportunity for Betis.
So scattered for BTXL and BTS. They pull the trigger because this Sion, Rubio, has been the punching bag for the first 20 minutes of the game. But now he's getting HP back. He's getting all that armor on him, and you cannot hurt him even if you're Hatrixx at this point. The only AP user in the team has to be there to kill the Sion. I mean, you mentioned it. Your bear was not there. Markoon was all the way to the bot side of the map. If BTXL want to fight, they have to be as 5. They have to be as a punch and run all together. That was the worst position ever to fight because half of BTS was even across the wall. Even if you wanted to catch them, you wouldn't be able to. So a little bit of miscommunication right there, and BTS instant to pull the trigger and capitalize on a mistake.
Yeah, I don't know. I really feel like XL could have played Orome the side lane pressure a little more. I think they were too quick to react to just the Baron vision clear. I guess they were very worried about the potential of a Baron being taken quickly by this kind of team. But I feel like the strength that Orome hasn't been flexed enough in that side lane, and that might be a bit of an issue. But it looks like Advienne, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's the name of the game for BTS here. As they jump straight into the back line to Lebron. The unboard trespass used already onto Orome as he's taken down. Markoon's there. The shutdown on Namex. That's exactly what they wanted. And the life form disintegration ray does very little. Certainly not disintegrating any life forms. Why did I choose to go for that sentence? It was way too hard. But it is going to be the dragon here for BTXL.
I think you're getting a little excited right here, Scoundrel, because BTXL have turned around the entire way they played from week 1 to week 2, and they're coming in with this sort of performance, extremely decisive to pull the trigger right there from Orome. It was kind of the fool me once, fool me twice, right? But it could have been turned around to Orome. Fool me once, fool me twice, and they kill Orome again. This time it was so decisive. Deadly runs in together with Orome, and they catch the 2 carries for the BTS. Namex, we mentioned, he didn't have his heal available, and Lebron didn't also have his flash available. So they focus one down, they take all the summoners, then they focus the next one, and they take Namex down, and he's the one paying with his life. So really well played right there for BTXL. They showed their peak potential as well, and I'm loving the way Deadly is playing this game. He's gone for the full-blown Assassin Kai'Sa build right here with the Gale Force and the Collector. He is going to be driving the backline whether you like it or not.
Markoon does get locked up here. Deadly has to be careful. I mean, look how much damage he's taking here. A little bit dangerous for the BTXL AD carry. Now, look, I don't want to say this again, but I feel like I have to. Even though BTXL look like they're winning, in real terms, they're not winning. They haven't got a sizable gold lead to work with. They are still failing to convert these teamfight wins into anything other than maybe dragons, which is what we're seeing them stack up right now. Now, of course, they are threatening Soul. It is Cloud Soul, which could be useful for a lot of the ultimate cooldowns. But and they're not actually converting this into a sizable item and gold advantage, which is allowing BTS the chance to scale up a little more. And that is my worry if I'm a BTXL fan right now, is that you have a Vel'Koz, you have an on-hit Varus, these things scale pretty well into the late game.
And remember that Sion that you were bullying because he had no items and he was BTXL'd in his inventory? Well, he has become a big boy now and he has 2 completed items, both with stacked armor on them and the boots right there to help. And now he will be able to stack Emma as well, which means Hatrixx will not be hurting him as much as he wants either. And now BTS are trying to force the hand of BTXL. Markoon, what are you going to do for this Baron?
I mean, there's a very long-range teleport coming in here from Orome. Already some low HP bars of BTS. Markoon looking for the engage. Miniduke has to force his stopwatch already. They dive into the backline. They're trying to get the damage with the Namex, but it's not there. The shutdown onto Deadly. They slam the bear, but it's not enough. Oh. It's up to Orome. He's popping. He's popping with the triple. He's popping with a quadra. Come on, man. Get the penta onto Rubio. The flash is there. The leg sweep goes, but Orome should pick this up. Pentakill for my man in the top lane. He bloody deserves it, Rubio. You better give it to him as the hook shot comes over. Pentakill for Orome.
BTS thought they had pulled the trigger for a sick play, and Orome comes in, chopping the health bars. Deadly goes down too early, but fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times here, Xcandro, because Orome is the carry for this game. They're gonna take the entire team of BTS down. They're gonna take the Baron, and you thought that the gold lead was not big enough for a team that kept on winning team fights. But that was extremely decisive, and again
Talk me through it, dude.
Orome with that TP, the patience, he waits. Miniduke can do nothing but press his stopwatch right there, and Deadly instantly dives the backline and they assassinate him. But when they assassinate Deadly with everything they have, and Markoon dives into the backline together with Orome, Orome hadn't been touched this entire fight. And guess what, Xcandro? He was touching everyone on the side of BTS. That was not legal from Orome.
Oh my word. This is an awkward little chase, but I'm so glad that Orome converts this, because honestly, he had a rough week 1.
Yeah.
I remember reading a lot of comments saying, I can't believe this guy was in the LEC. You know, there was a lot of harsh comments, you know, given that week 1 performance from Orome. He was camped, he was put pressure on, and he has really shown up in game 1 and game 2 here for XL. A big redemption arc for him off the first week of the European Masters. He's showing that he's capable to really dominate this level of play still.
And remember the interview when he was on the LEC, when he won, he said, I lost the passion and I lost the drive when I was in the LEC, and I was feeling down. And I couldn't convert what I was feeling into the Rift. So I'm trying again. I'm going through the ERLs and I'm climbing up. And boy, has it been a climb, because rough week 1, a lot of comments towards Orome, a lot of criticism, and boy, has he turned it around. But saying that, almost jinxed it.
Yeah, Lifeform disintegration rate burnt, though. That is a relatively solid cooldown, and Markoon knows it. Deadly just does not care. He's into the backline. Miniduke taken low, and Miniduke will drop to Orome. Another double kill for him, as he should be able to blow up the Varus, claim a triple. How many multi-kills has this guy got this game? Orome, you absolute beast. Lebron is trying his best, but I don't think he's going to get the 1v4 here, especially as the blue Kayn. Buying time, nonetheless, but XL will get the ace, and that should be the game for XL, and that should be the quarterfinal secured for this team.
Oh my god, such a relief for BTXL, such a relief for the NLC fans, seeing such a weak performance on week 1 from BTXL, and then such a decisive storm coming in from BTXL. Really, really, really well played, this boss. And honestly, I'm not going to hide it, Xcandro. I do come from the NLC, and I have seen these guys struggle, and I have seen these guys grow, and oh my god, I'm so proud to see them do so well.
Look, in general, I don't like to show bias, but I'm so happy for BTXL. I'm happy for the NLC as well, because we had a rough time last European Masters, and a lot of people touted BTXL as one of the teams that could potentially win this whole thing. They were shoved in probably the hardest group in terms of comparative talent. And, you know, they have now secured themselves second place. The last 2 games of the day, unfortunately, will not in terms of meaning things for standings, it doesn't mean anything. A lot of it is going to be playing to see if you can knock that 6-0 record off the table for Karmine Corp for BTXL. But the guaranteed remaining scenarios are Karmine Corp first, BTXL second. Our 2 teams have made it out, secured those quarterfinal spots, and I am very excited to see how both of these teams can go on perform in the playoff stages, because we have a stacked playoff stage trouble.
Honestly, we gotta give props to BTS right here, because they tried to pull off a really, really, really hard comp. When you have to rely on just making the pick, on just making these very situational spells hit, and having to hit them every single time, on every single fight, on every single situation, is just so hard, and just so much harder to execute than what BTXL had right there. They just literally could run you down and win over the fight. They could have like one good flank from Orome and it was over. But BTS, it was just really hard, man, to make it work, and unfortunately for them, they just couldn't convert.
They could not convert, and unfortunately that is BTS out of the European Masters as it stands right now. But if you're excited for BTXL, well, I've got good news for you. They're playing again. After the break, we're going into another matchup between Karmine Corp and BTXL, coming off this big win for their team. We'll see you soon.
Let's fucking go!